Call this meeting to order at 6:11 p.m. I believe we do roll call first.
Yes, Commissioner Cabrales is absent today. Commissioner Emerson is also absent. Chair Gutierrez,
Here.
Commissioner Machado,
Here.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Here.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Do we need to explain how the public can participate since it was on?
Yeah, we currently don't have anyone in attendance, so we'll skip that. If we do have someone jump on, I'll let you know.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Then let's call the first item. Can you hear me okay? I feel like I'm shouting. All right. Let's approve the regular meeting minutes, the February 16th, 2023 meeting. Are there any questions on these minutes?
No questions here.
No questions. There's no public comment. So I need a motion to approve the minutes of the February 16th meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
You're gonna be busy tonight. All right, Becky, vote. Please.
All right, Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Machado, and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, motion approved. Thank you.
All right, agenda item 2, public, there's no public comment, so we'll close that and go to number 3. Introductions, awards, recognitions, and presentation. What do we got?
Real quickly, we have some staff that are present here. I'll probably just introduce them. I think you've also met both of the staff that are here before, but Steve Mason, Senior Recreation Supervisor, and Darcy Chipping, our Recreation Supervisor.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming in. Very fun. Okay, then it looks like we're moving on to Steve's report, the Albert J. Borough Community Center Pickleweed Advisory Committee Annual Report.
Hi, how are you? Hey, can I interrupt for 23 seconds? Thank you. Sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Oops.
Okay. Annually, thanks for having me tonight.
Yeah.
Annually, the Parks and Recreation Commission is to receive reports on both the Pickleweed Advisory Committee and the general operation of the Albert J. Borough Community Center and Pickleweed Park. As the two are greatly intertwined, staff has prepared a joint report that covers both areas. So this evening, our content will be covering the Pickleweed Advisory Committee, co-sponsored programs, classes and programs, special events, additional fee waived facility use, support of other city services, center staff, Pickleweed Park Enhancement Project, fiscal analysis, looking ahead to the future, and then we'll have some time for questions. The Pickleweed Advisory Committee continues to be an essential part of the operation of the Albert J. Borough Community Center. Its purpose is to provide valuable input, representing and advocating for Canal area residents' needs and wishes for programs and services, and is a primary public networking resource between Canal residents, representatives from governmental and nonprofit agencies, and other stakeholders. The duties of the committee include responsibility for advising Parks and Recreation Commission, City Council, city staff on all matters pertaining to the facilities, programs, and services for the Albert J. Borough Community Center and Pickleweed Park. They are to make recommendations on policies and procedures governing the use of center and park in accordance with the mission of the city of San Rafael. Added to their responsibilities in 2022, the Pickleweed Advisory Committee will serve as an additional layer of review in the city's new public art review process for all proposals related to the Albert J. Borough Community Center and Pickleweed Park. The committee also promotes the use and support of the facility within the Canal neighborhood, including working in cooperation with citizens and business organizations, foundations, school districts, and other governmental agencies. The committee, however, does not have any authority to direct city staff, officials, or volunteers. Now, for years, the Albert J. Bourque Community Center, Pickaway Park, have been referred to as the center of the canal, as they serve as a gathering place for the canal neighborhood. The community center provides classes, activities, and events for preschoolers to older adults. In addition to city-run programs, the city partners with local organizations to provide programs as well as space for nonprofits, private businesses, and individuals to rent and hold activities for the community or their own families. While information in this report reflects the calendar year of 2022, budget figures reflect the city's 2021-2022 fiscal. The Pickleweed Advisory Committee is currently comprised of 10 members, 7 of which are voting members, including a vacant alternate position that is currently under recruitment by the city clerk, a representative from the Park and Recreation Commission, EMARC, and a staff person that serves as the committee chair. 5 regular meetings are scheduled annually on the first Wednesday of February, April, June, August, and October at 7 p.m. with additional meetings scheduled if necessary due to pressing matters. Through the committee, the center is able to co-sponsor vital programs being offered to the community by providing space, which also saves the city staffing expense had the city implemented the proposed program itself. Through the co-sponsorship program, the Pickweed Advisory Committee has the authority to accept or reject rental fee reduction waiver requests for the center and park, not exceeding a combined total of $140,000 annually. This ability, combined with the city council setting the Floral Community Center's nonprofit and residential rates at half of the cost of the city's other community centers, has proven successful in allowing multiple agencies to also provide a variety of programs. The committee also makes sure a balance of programs is being offered to all ages, toddlers to older adults, all interests, and as well as discussing community issues relating to the center, park, and canal neighborhood. Co-sponsorship applications are accepted twice a year to accommodate program seasons so that the committee can more fairly evaluate the applications against each other. Applications intended for the summer season were due January 10th and presented to the committee at their February meeting, with award announcements made at their April meeting. School year applications were due March 14th and presented to the committee in April, with awards being announced at the June meeting. In the calendar year of 2022, the Pickleweed Advisory Committee co-sponsored 9 programs by waiving rental fees. The programs include the YMCA and San Rafael City Schools after-school program for the winter-spring 22 session, Canal Alliance and Marin Football Club's Canal FC program, the YMCA and San Rafael City Schools Youth Summer Day Camp, Boy Scouts Troop 2000, Drawbridge, the Weekly Expressive Art Group, Tamalpais Adult School combined with Bahia Vista Elementary School's adult ESL classes, the YMCA San Rafael City Schools after-school program for the 2022-2023 school year, Parent Service Projects Abriendo Yundos, and Vivalon's Zumba program. The total co-sponsorship in 2022 were valued at $133,944. In addition to the co-sponsorship application review during the year, the Pickweed Advisory Committee received a presentation on the Public Art Review Board, as well as a presentation from Canal Arts on their proposed mural for the front of the Albert J. Bourque Community Center. Committee member Kate Sprague served as the committee's liaison to the city's Park and Recreation Master Plan Steering Committee. The Albert J. Bourque Community Center and Pickweed Park provide a variety of recreational opportunities to the canal community, Greater San Rafael, Marin County, and beyond through staff-led activities, collaborative programs and events, co-sponsored programs, and through rentals to organizations and individuals. In 2022, as you can see on the list, the center offered contract and staff-led programs in dance, adult, open gym sports, karate, soccer, baseball, pickleball, basketball, volleyball, technology, voiceover, and a weekly multicultural older adult program that resumed in August and also offers hot lunch. Additional programs were provided through co-sponsorship and rentals. Got a few pictures of some of our programs. Canal Karate, we've got pickleball, Junior Giants. Some of our dance programs, we've got the Canal Youth and Family Council's Canal Art Program on Saturdays. More Junior Giants. There's the Multicultural Senior Program in the bottom left. The lunches that are with the Multicultural Senior. Our program coordinator, Stephen Rogers, started the San Rafael Basketball Academy. See them at the top. We've got Marin Juniors volleyball camp this last summer, and also Junior Giants. The staff were also involved with special events held at the Santa Ana Park in 2022, most notably Movies in the Park. Traditionally, Pickleweed Park hosts one of the department's Movies in the Park series dates and has partnered with Pickleweed Library to read a story or conduct an activity prior to the sunset showtime. This year, the event coupled with the city's community outreach event and was even a bigger success. The Canal community received updates from nearly every department on the city projects and resources while enjoying free popcorn, snow cones, drinks, and snacks. Youth participated in making crafts and shooting baskets before watching Encanto in Spanish under the stars. And of course, our biggest and favorite event of the year, our Dia de los Muertos, and we celebrate our 34th annual ones. San Rafael's 34th annual Day of the Dead celebration was held Saturday, November 5th, 2022. The free event hosts art workshops for the entire family, 28 altars for public viewing, traditional food was sold, music by Pan Rafael with our very own Louise Yost from the Pickleweed Advisory Committee, enriching lives through music, and 2 additional professional bands. There were also cultural performances, a walking procession through the Canal neighborhood. We had 13 additional altars erected in downtown storefront windows, and a Dia de los Muertos car procession was held downtown San Rafael on Saturday, October 22nd. During the year, the community center and park also waived fees and provided space for the San Francisco Marin Food Bank's weekly food distribution, Marin County COVID-19 vaccine clinics, and served as a polling center for 8 days, 2 elections for the Marin County Elections Department. The Albert J. Boyle Community Center also started a collaboration with the city's Parking Services Department, where office space is being shared, allowing parking services to have office hours in the canal with bilingual staff on Mondays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This collaboration has been so successful that the city's Community Development Code Enforcement Division began having a presence in the center on Wednesdays in 2023. In 2022, the Recreation Division was approved to transition the 2 part-time clerical positions at each community center to 1 full-time office assistant per center. This has greatly helped with both staff retention as well as consistency in our customer service. Staff schedules are staggered to allow for optimal coverage, especially during the busy afternoons, evenings, and Saturdays. The Recreation Division staff, along with staff from the Department of Public Works, pursued a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant in 2022 to help fund the Pickleweed Park Enhancement Project. The community identified supported project will convert the Pickleweed soccer fields to all-weather turf, allowing them to stay open and better serve the community year-round, as well as the construction of a new outside basketball court, an additional playground feature, fitness area, a gazebo, replacement of the park restroom facilities, additional parking spaces, lighting, and landscaping. The state has recommended that the city receive a $4.2 million grant, and the city is optimistic that the National Park Service will officially announce the award in 2023. The city has contracted with Gates and Associates, landscape architect, land planning, and urban design to lead the project, with construction potentially beginning in September of 2023. Another round of community outreach for this project is expected to take place virtually starting next week, and in-person surveys will be performed at events at the facility on April 1st and April 8th. Specific project updates are scheduled to be given to the Pickleweed Advisory Committee at their April 5th meeting, and to the Parks and Recreation Commission at your April 20th meeting. For fiscal analysis, the next two slides show comparison in revenue and expenses for the Albert J. Boyle Community Center Picklewood Park over the past 4 fiscal years. It's important to note that the totals are based on the fiscal year of July through June, and not the calendar year. As you can see here and in the staff report, both categories are starting to rebound following the decline from the Looking ahead, we're looking at continue to community outreach and transition to the construction phase of the Pickleweed Park Enhancement Project, and also to develop new programs and partnerships to further support the community's diverse recreation needs. Any questions?
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, so the pickleweed, that's really exciting, the pickleweed enhancement project.
Absolutely.
So is that the money that is going to be the 4.2 million, is that going to cover it?
No.
No. All right.
No.
So what's the actual?
Right, well, we're seeking other grant funds. Greg's really taken the lead in that, and Catherine's helping. We're pursuing other funds, and the city's got some backup funds if necessary, but we're trying to get some other grant funding, but we have enough to start the project.
To get it going.
So you want to,
Yeah, I think so. Right now, what we're pursuing is a land and water conservation fund grant. To the National Park Service, and we're working with the state of California. They have supported us in that and supported that project. So we're just waiting right now to hear back from the National Park Service whether that grant will be awarded. That's a $4.2 million award with a 50% match requirement. So we have to have matching funds for them. Right now, the total scope of that project is around 8.8 million, if I believe, somewhere in that range. Of course, we're going to have to wait to see how bids come back. But we're continuing to pursue some other funding sources. So I'm looking at some other grant opportunities that we think we might be eligible for. One of those is a Caltrans Clean California grant. We're in very early stages of scoping out whether we're eligible for that and whether we are going to be able to get an application for that. It's tight timing, and there are some pretty strict requirements for eligibility. So looking at it, but can't really, obviously no guarantees that that money will come in. That being said, the city is very supportive of this project, and we do have funding. We're prepared to fund the other half of this project to make this successful.
It's awesome. What's the, when you break ground in September, how long is it going to take?
for the field, we've got a tight window because of the clapper rail. So we can't start until September, or we have to start in September, and we have to be done by February, I think it is, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
You know.
For that part of it, at least, close to the shoreline.
Well, yeah, and I just honestly don't remember off the top of my head what the completion date is for that grant, but I believe it's 2026, and we would have to spend the funds for the grant. I think we would obviously like to be completed with that project well in advance of that. So I think it's something that we have to really look at when bids come in and we've got into construction, what really fits around the schedule for things like the clapper rail, and then how are we going to stage and sequence that. I would hope that we would be well underway by the fall or winter, and then hopefully continuing on early 2024.
That's great. Really exciting. Really exciting.
Mark was on the Pickleweed 2.0 committee when we were trying to get other funding sources, yeah, years ago.
So sorry if I didn't hear this correctly. It's all being bid all at once, right? It's just, you don't know the other, like you'd start in September for the field, you said, but are the other pieces not in the same bundle, or they are? We just, the field is sort of the biggest piece.
Now, we're in active design right now for all of this. The field project, we started design earlier for that because we knew one way or another we wanted to proceed with that scope of work for the project. So I believe most of the field is done. I don't remember what percentage of design we're at with the field. We recently just went out and got design for the rest of that.
Got it, okay.
So the gazebo, the outdoor fitness equipment, the basketball court. And we're working with the same design team on both of those. So there's really great, we're not having to work with two different designers, so really easy synthesis there. So I think right now we're looking at it at one big scope of work from a design perspective. I think it really depends on means and methods of the contractor when we go out to bid on how they would sequence and stage it. I think most likely just around some of those environmental concerns, they may look into the first,
Mhm.
but I think it would really just depend on how they still.
The availability of staging areas and all that.
Yeah.
right, for components.
Yeah. I didn't have any other questions. I just wanted to comment on the parking. And I think it also said code enforcement. Did that have separate from parking?
Correct.
That's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. That seemed
No, it's
really
really great,
helpful.
because there's a lot of, a lot of people get tickets in the canal and
Yeah.
having to go downtown to City Hall to do it. It's easier
Like
here,
the traffic
bilingual
here.
staff, yeah, so it's
Good
nice
job.
having them here on Mondays and Fridays.
That's great. And it just seems, I just wanted to commend you. It seems like center is such a community gathering place. Not just programs and stuff. It seems like just all the peripheral services and activities make it a very vibrant space. So thank you.
Thank you.
One last question
Yeah.
in regards to the field. So is it going to be lined as two fields as it was? or-
We're gonna have two full ones, and then we're gonna have two baseball fields set up.
Okay.
You couldn't play at the same time because one would overdo but for like junior giants and stuff, it'd be perfect for that.
Right.
And then we're proposing to paint inside some smaller youth fields too.
Oh,
For some of the other ones, but we will have two full-size fields like these.
yeah.
That's great.
Just note too, in regards to that project, we're at a stage of design where we're going to be seeking some community input into what specific types of equipment do they want to see for a few elements there. So we're about to release that. I'm hoping by early next week, we'll have a survey that will go online. We'll probably be sending some postcards to neighbors that are butt up to the property or very in close proximity to the park. And we're definitely going to be looking for outreach from the community broadly, because this is a community surveying park. So we want to know what equipment does the community want to see. So there'll be some choices there that we're working with our designers on. And we're hoping to get some good feedback. So we'll make sure that obviously members of the commission will receive that. But we also encourage that to be spread widely so people have an opportunity to share their feedback. And then what we'll do is we'll be bringing some of the results back to the Pickleweed Advisory Committee on April 5th. And then back here on April 20th, the next meeting, we'll be sharing what those results look like. You'll have a chance to hear some of that feedback and see where we're at in design. So we are expecting to present a little more fully on that project.
And we've done extensive community outreach to get to this point too. So now it's a good way for us to report back to the community, like, we've heard you, this is what we're doing. And it's a fine tuning as far as, oh, we want this actual equipment. Keeping them part of the process.
Great. Becky, we still don't have anyone in the public, right?
Correct, we still do not.
Okay, then I think we are, we need a motion to receive. Is that correct? And approve the report?
Sure.
I'm gonna go back.
I will, yeah, to approve the Pickleweed report.
Second.
Perfect.
You guys are quite a team.
All right, Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Machado,
Yes.
and Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes.
All right, motion approved. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so it looks like we're moving on to the Marin Bocce Federation Annual Report. And we have Brian Johnson reporting.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right, that's right. And Jeff is also here with me.
And
Jeff is our brand new treasurer.
Money guy.
Right.
That's right.
Joined the board in January, was it?
Yeah,
So
my only dispute for ignorance.
He's been doing a fantastic job.
So, thank you. So I'm the board president, and as you know, we have 150 team captains.
We were wondering what the heck was going
A lot.
on.
If you haven't checked it out already, hanging out and watching the back of it, there's a lot of people. That's just the captains of all of our teams. Each one of them represents 6 to 8 people that plays on the team. And so it's a vibrant, well-attended resource for sure. And it's just sheer coincidence we happen to misschedule it. So it's on the same night as commission. So you should have received the report. I think Darcy did one, and we really enjoyed working with Darcy on as our new partner. And the report that what I'm primarily going to be showing you are pictures.
Great.
So
We did receive the report.
good. And so it's going to bring a little bit more story to it. So really, I'm going to go through the facility improvements because we we've done quite a bit, and we're in the midst of it. They're out there grinding the courts right now, as a matter of fact. We've got a few other highlights from 2022, and then just sort of a recap of the activity that's going on in the facility. And these are just happen to be some of the volunteers who came out to help us with the refinishing. We had to do a lot of things like taking all the boards off the side of the courts so they can come in and refinish. We get this whole team in from Italy. They do courts across the country, across the world. These are go-to people, and they're just doing a phenomenal job in the courts. Now got 6 of them finished. So the first thing we did though, is for some time we've had trouble getting bubbles in the courts, etc., because the drains at the end of the courts were just insufficient to handle the flow. And so we had Gelati Construction come out and dig out the stuff that's there, get down to the pipes, and basically install sort of industrial grade drainage at the end of each of the courts. And so a simple thing, but it's going to make a big difference in the lifespan of our courts and just also maintenance of it and getting the water off every time it rains, as it's been doing. So also court refinishing. And so we've got the drains done. This is Comione. He's the guy that has the company, took it over from his father. Again, they do bocce courts. They are the company that do bocce courts all over the country. You see the center picture of what they did basically is they had to go through, they went through and they tapped every inch of the courts. And any place they sensed that there was some dead space beneath it, which means water got in and this can cause bubbles. They dug it all out. So like the worst site, and then they filled that in. And so that work they were able to get done in October before the rains came and the cold weather came, and that prevented them really from doing any more.
So they're not footprints.
Those are not footprints. Those are holes that they've dug in the courts. So those are the 10 pallets of materials that we had to have shipped in from Italy to do the courts. And those were delayed. They were supposed to be here in October. And they were delayed. I think we got them in December. And by then it was too late to really do much work with it because it was too cold for the stuff to set. So that's been sitting over there in our inside courts. And then in March, they were able to come back and the weather warmed up. You're seeing they go through with this device and they measure every inch of the court and just look for slopes, etc., in order to get rid of those. And so then they grind down in the high spots that they need to. And then on the right is a self-leveling layer that they apply. It's kind of a rubberized level that goes on top of the old court once they patch them. And then they can come in and apply the top coat. And that's what they're doing over there actually as we speak on the courts G and H. These are our 2 inside courts that were just finished. And the one on the right are courts they just finished this morning. So pictures from this morning. This is like a webcam. So it's just a phenomenal surface. Jessica, who is quite the bocce expert, says she's never seen a truer court. So you roll the ball down and it just goes in a straight line. It's none of this meandering down as we used to have.
No excuses.
Yeah.
No, that's the excuse now.
It's too perfect. It's too perfect. Another thing we did was, especially for our 3 dailies, we have a lot of seniors who come down. And on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we have leagues, 20 teams, a lot of people down there on each of those 3 days, and the sun was a little unbearable. And so the left we've now purchased a few of these large rectangular umbrellas. We always had umbrellas on the tables. These are larger rectangular ones we can put in key spots. And the one on the right, we worked with Darcy to get a building permit. Those are steel posts embedded in the ground and a retractable thing about 12 by 10 feet. And so that picture was also from, I think it was yesterday. And so that's a brand new thing. And so, right now it's casting shadow way over there, but at noon, when the leagues are playing, it's going to provide a tremendous amount of shade. This is just our prototype. And if this works, then we'll continue on and invest in more. We'll just see how it handles the first year and how that compares with the retractable umbrellas that we do purchase in the month. Some other highlights, we've been talking to the commission, the commission years ago asked us to improve our signage. Using signs, we now have one all four of the gates, leading into the facility, so that people that are just walking by in the park can see that we're open to the public, people walking on the street. I mean, I lived in the neighborhood, and for years I walked by thinking that, you know, it's intimidating because there's so many people out debauching, and it just felt like a private club. And we're doing our best to try and break that image, and welcome people in. In addition, just some minor stuff, cloud storage, you know, as far as records keeping, everything is now out, and all of our board minutes, all of our key documents for the organization and the executive, the team, along with Jessica, we're using it very, it's just a great service. Things were scattered all over the place, and you had to go hunt down prior treasures to find old records, that type of stuff. We did a survey with our community after the season. Unfortunately, we didn't get it out until I think it was November, December. And so a lot of people, bocce was already out of their mind. But we did have a couple hundred people respond. We got very good marks, but it also gave us areas that we know we can improve. So things such as some teams just are a bit hyper competitive. And it can be pretty intimidating for some of the other players. And so that's one of the lectures that's going on in our captain's meeting, is just good sportsmanship, that type of stuff. And so, you know, we're relying on that. And next year, we're going to be doing a survey again a couple of weeks before the league ends, so that we can keep talking to people, so we get higher participation next year. So we hope to get, you know.
Do you have space for higher participation? I think you had maxed out.
No, in the survey.
Oh, in the survey.
In the survey, yeah.
You were
had-
maxed out as part of players.
No, we had about 200 people respond, answer the survey, you know, which may not be a bad out of, you know, as many people as we have. But we'd like to get more. But it was really good results. And employee benefits, things like health reimbursement accounts, SEP-IRA. I don't know, I'm drawing a blank on. So it's just things for employees to make it a more attractive package, especially for just our one full-time employee. So that we can be with the future. So let's look at a little bit of the activity. This looks back over the last few years. In-house tournaments, those are ones that are only available to people who are currently playing in the league. And so those are great events, and it really helps people boost their skill level. It starts at 8:30 in the morning, and often the last game isn't over until about 5 o'clock at night. And so the first and up until noon, everybody plays 3 games, guaranteed. After that, half the people continue on in the afternoon in single elimination, all the way down to the final tournament at the end. So it's a great way, you play that much bocce, and the game just gets a lot better, and it's a higher caliber of play. So that's really good. And then for even a higher caliber, United States Bocce Federation tournaments, that brings in people into our facility from all over the greater Bay Area. So they'll come in from Lodi, they'll come in from Sacramento, they'll come in from, you know, Modesto, you name it. And so about half of the players are local players and half of them are from out of town. And there's even been talk about us potentially doing the nationals, hosting the nationals, which typically go off in Boston, so stuff like that. We've been talking about perhaps sponsoring, you know, having it done in our facility. And Jessica has just become a board member on the USBA. So it gives us good access. Open play, that's when the leagues aren't going, and so it's a few days a week, and Saturdays and Sundays. And a number of open players, so you know, I do that regularly. There's a group that comes out on Friday. There's about 15 of us, and we draw cards and say who's on which team, and we play just pickup games that way. So it's a lot of fun. And then contracted events is something we're really coming back from COVID. It's St. Vincent de Paul does a big fundraiser every year. That had to be canceled for the last couple of years, and now this year they're coming back to the state. And so we're expecting to get back up to 30+ events. And so Jessica's doing a great job of promoting that. So that really takes advantage of the courts on Saturdays and Sundays. And gets us some good revenue. These are some of the tournaments. Not too much more to say about that. And then I'll leave this up for a little bit. It's a lot of words on here, but these are the organizations that are scheduled to do special events this year. So they're already in the books and we're expecting to add more.
Add us on
Yeah,
We're coming back too.
Okay. Good. Well, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Yeah, there's a lot of organizations that are now starting to do it, like they'll come down in the afternoons, like file them in, and it's just really kind of team building events. And so they'll take the courts for a couple of hours and just have some fun games and just go, make sure they know how to play and that kind of stuff. So that was the pictures. And you had the report. That was about it. I mean, yeah.
Questions?
No, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys got the shade up. I know that was something we heard about last year.
Is that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, we're really hopeful. We had one of the portable ones up last year, and it made a big difference. People are really enjoying some of it. We'll see how this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are there no longer issues in regards to stuff going on around the property,
It seems to be
people acting
okay.
out?
I mean, you all know about.
Yeah.
You read the actions against your paper, so that's causing, when the topic came up, Jessica raised it, just to make them aware. There was, you could kind of sense there's some concern in the room about using that back parking lot, right in the middle of the encampment and that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. It's a tough problem, but so far, we're not finding, like a lot of transits who come in through the thing. And if we do, Jessica she has a pretty good way of dealing with people. I mean, she's pretty tough. She's tough. But in just a strong way, not in an abusive way. And so she can often get people to move on, or she, let them charge their phones. That's kind of thing that they need. And so, she'll support where she can, but she makes sure the community feels comfortable.
You guys want feedback on that on a continual basis? What's going on with that situation?
I don't know. I think that we probably get it, right? I mean,
Well, and Darcy's in our board meetings every.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're gonna get it to Darcy.
Yeah, I would just say, I think that's a great connection, is that if you are having issues or concerns that you feel you need support from the city or from the commission on, Darcy's a great first point person, but definitely we want to make sure that the commission's aware. I have a couple things I'll say about the current situation, what the city's doing right now to support Elbert Park, when I get to my comments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? I noticed in the report, and forgive me, I didn't print it, it said something about you guys having a meeting recently to talk about future improvement. And I believe there was a significant number of dollars in reserves. What are you guys planning? Is there any?
Yeah,
What-
so, we're still trying to get a handle, our arms around the cost of future capital improvement, like every so often. So, for example, it needs a lot of cleanup. We have like about $500,000 of unfunded reserves to handle going out 10 years. And we think that's really low. We really have to drill down. An example would be that we spent close to an additional $100,000 and was not even thought of years ago, dealing with the drainage and stuff like that. So it would probably, it's all very high level, probably take maybe 5 years to get to the point where we have enough money to fund the improvements over a 10-year period, 5 years or 10. And, we're one event away from, having issues. If a tree falls on Bocce Court, it's no longer $12,000 for ceiling, it's a lot more than that. You have to start from scratch. If it falls on the building, another matter. We'd have to dig into other related sources of funds that you could look to make the repairs. So we want, not that we've been running things at the seat of our pants, but I mean, the pandemic was a real eye opener. And we got lucky that we didn't have to do wholesale. It was infrastructure, besides Jessica, the next valuable asset or the facility itself, the courts in particular. And because we rely so heavily on that there's just significant ongoing investments
Mhm.
in our own, so when we're looking ahead, we wanted to make sure we did a good job as to the why portion. So we're gonna do a little, put together a proposal and for to be reviewed, and then hopefully submit it to you guys to look ahead and see what we can do on giving us a longer timeline. So that when we do these improvements, because there are a number of improvements that last a long time. And so we just want to have some grounding in terms of, longevity. In there. So it's never too early to at least start that conversation and kind of figure it out. Does that answer your question?
I think Bocce's always been great at the city,
Mhm.
and it's always done. Very transparent, and it's a great activity for the citizens of San Rafael, so or everyone.
Yeah.
Speaking personally, it's phenomenal. For somebody in retirement, it's an instant community.
Yeah,
It's really a way to socialize and stay happy.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you guys have always been great coming to us and reporting everything that's going on, so.
Yeah, so we're kind of hoping that, if we put something, advance something forward through Catherine that, it's something that would be considered appropriate, even though we prefer not to wait too long in order to kind of secure some longevity to the period of time, so that as we make improvements and stuff, it feels like we're not 30 days on the wall kind of thinking about it.
Mhm.
We list on the assets, we look at the asset thing, I look at the assets, right? And a big chunk of the assets are the facility, but it's not really ours. When you look at it, if you take that figure out, it's like, there's not much there, even though, so if we owned everything, it'd be different. So, the way the accountants do it, they put in their assets, these huge figures, like that, and so, having that longevity adds more credibility to, what we call asset accounting wise. Yeah.
What's the current term?
It goes to 2030. There's a possibility of extending to 15 years. So it's just kind of a matter of having a conversation, saying when do you pull the trigger on 15 years?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it makes sense, it's a lot of times you don't necessarily have to exercise, you can just negotiate freestyle and just do it,
Do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it, let's go, baby.
Do it.
That's the right question. Thank you.
Since the chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On that too, I just wanted to acknowledge that we're aware that that might be a request that's coming our way, so we'll look forward to that. And yeah, I think we have a great partnership with you. We're excited to take a look at that agreement. It's definitely on our radar. I had a chance to talk with Brian briefly before this meeting about that. So yeah, I think we'd be open to extending the term of that. We would just, of course, want to take a look at the agreement, make sure on our end that agreement's going to make sense. But I think we're very open to it. We definitely know the value that Marin Bocce provides to the communities.
Yeah, and we're really glad that it's recognized that Jessica has a, very key role in making sure that certain things are addressed
Mhm.
In there properly, and that we're, from what I understand, she's doing a great job and staying on top of things that are important to you guys on there. So we see that coming too. Something that we want to be discussed and clarify.
Just one comment on all those events up there. I was on a call with someone from Glenwood, someone from Pullman last week. And they both said, I have an event at Bocce on date. And they go, no, that's mine. And they both think, oh, no, where are we? It's pretty funny. They'll figure it out. Maybe it's the same day, maybe one of them was wrong. They weren't sure, but it was, they were very excited.
Yeah,
With
she
them
does a
about
very good job of.
Oh, I'm certain it's not Jessica's problem. I'm certain one of them either had it wrong or they both.
Yeah.
Have you guys met Jessica?
Only on Zoom, actually, for me.
I played out there.
She's fantastic.
She's very, very key.
Yes, it seems apparent it's being managed well.
Thank you.
All right, Becky. Do we have? Are you?
We do not have anyone in attendance right now, no.
Are you part of Bocce?
No, my name is Laura O'Malley and I wrote a letter, sent an email a couple of days ago about pickleball at Alboro Center. And so I was talking to several people.
Okay, hold on one.
Yeah.
1 sec. So should we?
Yes.
Um,
So in regards to public comment, I think we can make some time
That
either
would be
right after
fine.
this
Yeah.
or some public comment if you'd
Okay,
like to make
that's
comments
fine.
on something that's not on the agenda.
Mhm.
okay, so let's get a motion to approve this, the pickle, sorry, bocce report.
I motion to accept the report from Lynn Bocce.
Second.
Thank you. Becky?
All right, thanks, guys. Chair Gutierrez,
Yes.
Commissioner Machado. Commissioner Machado.
Oh, yes.
Good. And Commissioner Sandoval.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Motion approved.
Okay, and then we're gonna hop back real quick to public comment. And reopen that agenda item if that's okay. With everyone here?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I don't know. Or-
Yeah, Becky, we have one person here that would like to make public comment.
Okay, let me set our timer for 3 minutes and she'll have 3 minutes to provide her comments. Just one moment to get set up here. Okay, and I'll set the stopwatch here. All right, go ahead.
Thank you for coming.
So my name is Laura O'Malley and I am a pickleball player here. I've been a San Rafael resident for 36 years. And we began playing pickleball at Alboro Center, taking classes from George Silvas. And have come back. George said there was some, negotiating back and forth as to open time to play pickleball in the indoor courts, especially this rainy winter. It would have been really nice to have had the courts available a little bit more, but we're still trying to figure this all out. So I sent an email on behalf of myself and some of our friends that play pickleball to see if we could expand the hours at Alboro Center to accommodate during the day when the court isn't being used for open pickleball play. And that possibly this could be something that could be considered, either renting a court or, doing round robin play. And so we've been doing this up at the courts at McGinnis outdoor. And we've also rented courts at the indoor pickleball, which has been booked constantly, So one of the comments that was said was that the courts at Alboro weren't being utilized in the times that were available. So we were under the impression, we called in, we asked the girl at the front desk, she said, yes, they're available, from 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, I can't remember which one it was. And you can come in, we play round robin, it's first come, first serve. So we show up on Monday at 9:45 to go 10 o'clock at the courts, and she goes, oh no, they're only open Tuesdays and Thursdays. And there was a flyer. The flyer wasn't even posted anywhere. So my colleagues seem to think that the problem has been with the marketing, that these courts, especially in the rainy season, would be utilized all the time if people knew that they were available to be utilized. So we'd like to see it marketed a little bit more. I've looked at the schedule, it was sent to me, and the only conflict they have during the day play, up to school time let out hours is a Zumba class by Bible at 11 o'clock, 10 to 11 on Thursdays. So my friends would like to see if we can be able to go in and play. I know there's liability issues. Maybe we could have a waiver that we sign. Maybe we can say if they leave us the dust mop that they've put on the court to make sure that there's no sweat on the court and all of that, and move the nets ourselves, that we would take liability for doing that and making sure that everything was clean and neat when we finish playing for the last person playing. So we'd like to see what this Park and Rec has to say about that. Whether we could play this Monday at 10.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I don't know, typically public comment does not require a response. I don't know if you have any feedback or,
Up to you, if you have questions. or-
no, I mean, I would say thank you for bringing that to our attention. Well, fastest growing sport in America.
Yeah.
That's what they say. And I
It really
definitely,
is growing in
um,
popularity.
yeah.
And there's several different forums
Yeah.
too, that are, you can go on and, this could be promoted on several forums and several Facebook pages for pickleball
Yeah.
players. And we're in.
Thank you.
I did just want to acknowledge that we did receive your email. You actually have two of the people who are on that thread. I'm Craig Barrett.
Hi, Craig. Thank you. So nice to meet
So,
both
I
of
just
you.
wanted to acknowledge that and also acknowledge that, we understand pickleball is a really valuable sport and it's something that we're always going to be looking at opportunities and ways to expand the program offerings we have, given the resources we have. and limitations.
Right, right. Nice with an elderly population or the population that's in that age group to get that age group out and recreate. And so that's always a a part of the community that needs to be served too. We understand, the 2 o'clock on, that's for the kids and the basketball leagues and everything else. That's their time too.
Great, thank you so much. All right, we're gonna hop back to agenda item 6, commission reports and comments. Any reports or comments?
Nope, nothing.
All right, we'll call that then and move on to staff comment.
Okay. Well, just a couple things I wanted to share on my end. One is just wanted to make sure that you're aware that we are getting really close to wrapping up our park and recreation management plan. So we are at a stage where we are compiling the final chapters of that document. I'm really excited about that since I started here almost a year ago. This has been a big part of the scope of work for me and for Catherine and for the consultants that we've been working with. They're doing a great job. So we're going to keep you posted on the status of that, but we are still on schedule to hopefully get that document to City Council probably within the next month. So beyond that, I think you've had a chance to really see that document, put it in draft revisions of that. We're really looking forward to bringing a final version of that document forward soon. So, couple events and scheduling things I want to make sure you're aware of. One is Sanderfeld Little League opening day is scheduled for this Saturday, the 18th, and there's been some conversation about that. The city is really doing our best to support that event. We actually met with Sanderfeld Little League on Tuesday, the day that it was extremely windy. Trees were falling, rain was going sideways. And we had a great opportunity to meet with them and do a site walk out there. And one of the reasons we're doing that is because it was mentioned in one of the earlier presentations that there has been some camping that's been taking place here at Albert Park, and primarily that camping has been happening either by the parking lot near the stadium or in the parking lot kind of near the community center. And for several months now, we've been meeting internally about how can we support that community and how can we make sure that this is a park environment that is healthy, that's sanitary. It's really looking out for the welfare of all of our park users. On March 6th, City Council adopted a resolution prohibiting camping at Albert Park. We brought forth a staff report with some information, and they heard a lot of community comments and feedback and decided that that was the best solution for now. On March 9th, the U.S. District Court's Northern District of California did issue a temporary restraining order, which prohibits the city from enforcing that no camping rule until further order of the court. And the city is responding to that. But for the time being, what that means is we can't take any action right now on that campsite. So given that, we know that right now there's around 22 campers living at Albert Park near the baseball stadium. And so there have been some questions about this event from San Rafael Little League and from the community. So we had that meeting, we had an opportunity to meet with them and talk a little bit about next steps. I think it was a really productive meeting, and one of the decisions was that there's going to be some adjustments made to the parade route. We were also going to work with San Rafael Little League to provide some additional portable restrooms, talking about maybe some additional security that we might want to have present, just make sure we have a slightly increased presence. And then really making sure that we're working with them on a plan to make sure they have a really good experience. So today, if you were out there at the baseball stadium, you would have seen a really huge effort for cleanup. We had our Department of Public Works, PD was out there. We were out there talking with our parks crew about the field. And so a lot of work has been put into making sure that this is a successful event. So we're really looking forward to it. It is going to be a parade that begins at 10 a.m. at City Hall, works its way through downtown. They'll wind up here at the stadium at around 10:30, where they're going to have their opening day ceremony. They're going to have a barbecue out on the lawn outside the stadium. And then, because of all of that rain, all of the really incessant rain we've had, unfortunately, the field may not be ready for the baseball game. So I think that's where we're at right now. So we don't think that it's going to be a safe play environment. But we're definitely looking forward to the return of Little League and return of the baseball season. So I just want to make sure that you have that information in that update. We're of course going to keep you posted. We get more information about any decisions that are made regarding that temporary. Beyond that, March 20th is the next city council meeting, and then April 3rd. On April 5th, we've mentioned the Pickleweed Advisory Committee meeting. April 3rd through 7th, some of our staff, including myself, are going to be at the California Park and Recreation Society Conference and Symposium. It's an annual event. This year it's in San Diego, so you can pity me.
Have fun.
And Darcy as well. We're actually going to be down in San Diego, meeting with some of our colleagues, doing some networking, and hopefully bringing back some really valuable information to the team. April 12th will be the next Public Art Review Board meeting. Steve mentioned in his report, we've received a proposal for public art, a mural on the front of the Borough Community Center. We're evaluating that on a staff level right now. I had a couple of questions and comments to the artist team that's proposed that. If they're able to resolve those comments, we may be bringing that to the Pickleweed Advisory Committee on the 5th, and then to the Public Art Review Board following that. After that, it would then go to City Council for final approval. So we of course keep you in the loop on that, but you wouldn't have any direct decision-making requirements with regards to it. The next second Friday Art Walk is April 14th. This is an exciting one. We're looking forward to the Sun Valley Playground ribbon cutting ceremony. Maybe some rain delays at first the tail end here. I know, I think yesterday or the day before, they just had the play equipment delivered to the site.
Great.
So we're getting really close to wrapping that project up. The team's been doing a really great job. Right now, it's tentatively scheduled for April 18th, 4 to 5 p.m. And then an ongoing art exhibit up at Falkirk Cultural Center, March 10th through April 21st. It's called Articulation, the Art of Playing with One. The opening reception just happened a couple of days ago, but I just talked with Christina Farhang, who is the coordinator up there. She said it's a really great exhibit and encourages everyone to get up and take a look. So, and that's all I have for you.
Yeah. Here's any questions? Pacifics are set to be back in May.
Darcy, Darcy could speak more directly to that. I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah,
the
Randy
schedule.
Academy and Pacific, most of these.
Yeah.
So they kind of, as soon as Randy Academy is done, then.
Got it.
So, yeah. So, who's back?
Great. All right, then I think that's it for us today. Our next meeting is April 20th, and we'll adjourn at 7:08 p.m. Thanks for coming back in
Thank you.
person.
Thank you.